We just got some breaking news that an appeals court is now allowing Trump to continue having control of the California National Guard. This is an offshoot of that situation where there were riots and confrontations with law enforcement, and Trump said, I'm going to take over the National Guard and send them in. Now they're being able to do that after some litigation over the last week and a half. But look, one of the reasons, I mean, this is a connected story. You know, you're talking about these ICE agents and DHS agents and all of these folks who are carrying out these raids. The masks have been an issue.
Why?
I'm just stating that for people, they're seeing these men showing up in their communities in hats and in black masks covering everything but their eyes. And we've had deportation raids for many a decade in this country. President Obama's administration did it to the tune of millions. And yet we did not see that.
But here's why. Because you didn't have the left when who you work for. Barack Obama was doing this, deporting a lot of people. You didn't have the left saying, we're going to dox you and your family, and we're going to put your lives at risk, and we're going to put your addresses on the internet. We're going to go to your house and live stream, and we're going to put your kids' Instagram on social media out there saying you're a bad guy. That wasn't happening when Barack Obama was doing it, because now Donald Trump's doing it. Therefore, let's go after ICE.
What's up, everybody? Welcome back to the channel. Okay, so let's talk about this for a second. Now, I know this is not my normal video. This is not a congressional committee hearing or a Senate committee hearing or anything like that. But I saw this video and I'm like, yeah, I got to talk about this because this is kind of crazy. Like, he's right, though. He is definitely right. The left is attacking these people for doing their jobs, for goodness sakes. But that's not the only reason they're getting doxxed and all that other nonsense, right? A lot of these people, if they see ICE coming up, they're just going to take off running. They're just going to flee, for goodness sakes. So they camouflage themselves to make them look like regular citizens so these criminal aliens do not see these people coming. These people intentionally subverted the system by which normal people immigrate into this country. They went around, they did an end run around the process. So, look, I'm sorry. You can cry, you can scream all you want about, oh, they're wearing masks and they're, no markings on their clothing, no badge, none of that. It doesn't matter. Look, this is a good idea. But y'all do me that big favor and smash that like button for me. Subscribe if you're new around here. Share this video anywhere and everywhere you can. And if you could, I would appreciate it greatly if you would look right below the video and click that join button. Sign up, become a member, help me deliver the best possible content I can deliver to you guys. But without any further ado, let's keep going.
Law enforcement, just because they're afraid of being doxxed, if the NYPD today has some sort of protest against it, they now have to start wearing uniforms and not any insignia on them. Look, I was at.
That's not what I'm saying.
Let me tell you this.
My dad's in law enforcement. That's not what I'm saying. So let me finish this. Because, when you come from a law enforcement family and you see these guys, and you see these guys that come out there and they risk their lives and they're doing their job. And then you have, I'm sorry with the Dodgers, the Dodgers things makes me mad because I think they were making a point probably to sell tickets and to get fanfare behind them.
I talked to the mayor today. That's not true.
So you think that the Dodgers didn't do that thinking the PR aspect of it was, we're going to stand up to ICE and then we're going to have more people that like us in the legal immigrant community or those that have friends in the legal immigrant community.
You're taking up a lot of space here.
I just started talking a second ago.
It was not a second ago. But look, one thing I just want to note, when there are judges who rule against the Trump administration and conservative, policies, people dox them, they dox their family members, they call them evil and activists.
Supreme Court justices that were doxed,
right? So I guess my point is that is happening to people who are not even in law enforcement. Right. They're just people in black robes sitting on a bench.
And Democratic
but
nobody
says anything about it.
All
of it's bad. All of it's bad. But I also think, look, again, ICE has been detaining and deporting people in this country for a long time, okay? The difference is not just this moment. It is also the tactics,
yes.
Okay? It is the people that they are going after. They're taking women and moms at their hearing where they've been called to appear for their immigration proceedings, taking them but they're at their hearing. They're being told to come, and then they are detaining them in the hallways. They're breaking the glass windows of cars. I'm just telling you, it's the tactics that is changing the way people are seeing
American
this.
citizens go to court all the time and get arrested arrested and taken away from their kids, and no one is acting like this is some injustice.
I don't think you understand what go ahead, I'm sorry.
But that happens every day.
No, but that's not.
Do you know how many people are in the prison
And when it
population in
does,
America?
and when it does,
How
and
many
if you've
moms and
ever
dads?
known somebody that has
hold on a
happened, it's
second.
devastating.
Van, go ahead
it's
and-
terrible. It's not.
Then don't break
it's
the law.
awful. It's
Don't break the law.
traumatizing to the
Self-deport.
child.
Who's breaking the law?
The people that are here
No,
illegally.
I'm sorry.
No, you don't
Let
understand what
me
you're talking
stop
about.
here.
People that are here illegally are breaking
Let
the
me
law.
just finish my
Don't
thought
talk
here.
about
There are
that.
plenty of people here who are here legally, who had legal status, who are showing up to basically to renew their legal status or to check in as the rules dictated, and they are getting deported and they're getting arrested. That is not right. These people have the right to be here.
There are people living in hiding right now. I know them. They are in hiding that have visas that are here legally because they are afraid of the tactics of ICE. These are not fairy tales. These are not fairy tales.
That is exactly fairy tales. The only people that are getting arrested that may have legal status or whatever, they committed a crime. So where's the argument against this? Like, these people, they just lie. It's just all propaganda. It's all nonsense. And look, it's so hard to fight against this nonsense, because then you get the corporate press and that they run with like the Maryland man hoax. Then you got a Maryland father mistakenly deported, and that whole headline, that entire headline was a lie. Right? Because he wasn't a Maryland man. He was an El Salvadorian national. Right? The only truth in that was he was a father. But that was also under the context that he came into this country, he was in the country illegally, and then had kids for the sole purpose of anchoring himself to this country. Right? He wasn't mistakenly deported. That was a lie, right? In case you bought into that narrative that, oh, he was mistakenly deported, that's a lie. No, he didn't get an interview. That was the error, administrative error. There was no mistaken deportation. He had final orders of deportation, and the deportation was up and up. It was good. Everything was fine with that. He just didn't get an interview before he was deported, and that's it. Let's keep going.
See, we live in two different worlds. In the world you live in, the main thing that's happening is that ICE people are being mistreated. And I didn't even know as much about it as you told me today, so I'm learning. In the world I live in, the rule followers, the people who have legal status, who are trying to do what they're told, are also getting grabbed in ways that would shock you and are being deported. That's why you're having the alarm. So you're just saying, oh, somebody's breaking the law, they should get arrested. If that's what we're talking about, there's no conversation. We're talking about the rule followers
You're acting
who are
like
getting
there's
in trouble.
the majority of the people being arrested. And hold on.
Go ahead.
It's not the majority. It's not the majority have legal status.
Well,
that's not true. That is misinformation.
No, hold on a second. First of all,
or a lie, however you want to describe it.
Look,
Oh, that's so amazing that he just said that, because he's totally right. Right? We are living in two different worlds. You have the informed, and you have the people that follow the corporate press narrative, essentially, and they get lied to. They get propagandized. These people, they just buy into this narrative. They bought into the Maryland man hoax, like I was talking about before. They buy into, oh, Donald Trump is deporting people that are here legally. That is not true. Zero immigrants. Once again, folks, I say this all the time. Zero immigrants have been deported under Donald Trump. None whatsoever. It's only the criminal aliens, only the illegal immigrants. Which those are two different things, by the way, in case you didn't know. An illegal alien is somebody who came here, was legal. They came through the proper channels, got a visa, got a green card, whatever it may be, and then they overstayed that visa or overstayed that green card, whatever it was, and then became illegal immigrants. They intended to move here, build a life for themselves, and whatever happened, they fell off the wagon or whatever. So the criminal alien, that's these people that just come across the southern border. They try to evade Border Patrol, and they just try to sneak their way into this country. That's who Donald Trump needs to get out of the country, but those people are really hard to find. They're flying under the radar, for goodness sakes. It's like stealth people, right? So it's really hard to find and track these people down and deport these people. But, you know, if it's within 2 years, they just get expeditiously deported. And that's another thing. Democrats are yelling and screaming about due process on that. Which those people that are here for less than 2 years, they don't get any sort of due process. They just get picked up by ICE and then removed. That's it. They don't have any sort of immigration court, none of that. Immigration court is essentially only for people that are trying to become citizens that come here, they got to renew their visa, renew their green card, they got to check in, do that number, or they're, the asylum seekers, those types of people, right? It's not for people that enter the country illegally, right? Those people just get deported. I don't understand this disconnect with the corporate press. They constantly say, all immigrants are getting deported. Zero, folks. Zero have been deported. Let's keep going.
Well, the majority of ICE people are not getting doxxed. But what I'm saying is there are people. I've come to LA. There are people.
I live in Houston. I see a ton of illegal immigrants. They're not hard to find.
They are dogpiling us in LA.
Yeah, they're dogpiling you guys because that's what you guys voted for. Now, don't complain about it now, for crying out loud.
And you have nannies who are literally out there with children being sworn by people with masks, taken away. These people have legal status, and the children are traumatized. That's what's happening, and people are very upset about it.
That, once again, folks, that's just a blatant lie. They're just trying to propagandize here, and then they're trying to use emotional arguments, tug on your heartstrings a little bit to get you to feel sorry for these people. Don't feel sorry for these people. Look, do you feel sorry for a guy that takes his kids and goes to the store and buys a bunch of beers and then starts driving around drunk? Do you feel sorry for that guy when he gets arrested and thrown in jail and his kids get taken away from him? No, of course not. You feel sorry for the kids, sure. But you're relieved that, hang on, you just separated these children from a very dangerous parent who put his kids in a dangerous situation knowing that he could get arrested and have his kids taken away from him. That's how I view these people. They come into this country illegally, bring their freaking kids with them, for goodness sakes, putting them in a dangerous situation, right? Like the dangerous situation traveling to this country. That's absurd, like some of the horror stories that come from that. But you come into this country and then you expect us to bring your kids to jail with you? For crying out loud. No, it's just all ridiculousness. Don't buy into the emotional arguments, folks. Don't buy into it. It's the parents' fault. It's not Donald Trump's fault. It's ridiculous.
Number one, it's not the majority. But number two, it's this. I go back to law and order. You either have law and order or you don't.
That's my point.
And when you let in, and by the way, if you want to be mad at somebody, if you want to be mad at somebody, you should be mad at Joe Biden for letting in millions. Who let him in? Who let him in?
Can I ask you a question?
No, if you're going back to trauma, then giving someone false hope that you could come to America.
These people have legal status.
Blame their own party for this.
Can I ask you a question? Because President Trump just said that he doesn't want people going after undocumented immigrants on farms and in the hospitality industry, right? The very people that you say are lawbreakers, he's giving amnesty to because he reversed it, but he said it, right? Why? Why are some people who are here illegally, according to you, why should they stay here? Because Donald Trump
reversed it, but B, my policy
why would he say it in the first place? Why would he say it?
Again, I go back to a very simple issue. I don't care if you're an American citizen or if you're an illegal immigrant. If you are breaking in a law in this country, you should be arrested if you are to be arrested for breaking that law. And if you came here illegally, then you should self-deport or live worried all the time.
Why did he think until he got pushback from his base, why did he think some people deserved to stay here and others didn't?
I don't think you got the pushback you're describing.
But why did he reverse himself?
The majority of Americans say they're in favor of A, a secure border, and B, then deporting people that are here illegally.
His numbers are tanking.
They're not tanking. His approval rating's up today. That's not true. His approval rating's up 56%.
That's not what he said, by the way. He just recognized that there's a problem here and that we're going to do something about it. He never stopped ICE from raiding these businesses, the farms, none of that. He never stopped any of this. It's just propaganda, once again, folks.
Hold on, guys.
Stop talking for a second.
Hold on a second.
You said that he's tanking.
Guys, hang on a second, Ben, just a second. So what she's referring to is his poll numbers on immigration, which have been declining. Yes. And when you do ask people, this is why I brought up the issue of tactics. When you ask people about the way that Trump is going about doing this mass deportation, which is going after a broad swath of the immigrant community, not just the criminals, which everybody agrees should be deported, but all of those other people, the nannies, the construction workers, the cooks, the house cleaners. That's when you start to see more Americans saying, we don't agree with that.
I think the problem is that people were told that we were going to focus on deporting criminals, and the reality was that many people try to say is like, they think everybody is a criminal, and that they don't care how they treat immigrants. The humanity of people is being erased every day in these streets, and if you can sleep at night, then go for it. But I think whether you break the law or not, my faith, my belief is that you still treat people with decency and humanity, and that is not.
Part of that is respecting other people's laws. I agree with you. I respect the laws in Mexico when I go to Mexico.
But even when somebody doesn't,
I respect the laws in England.
Even when somebody doesn't respect the laws, I still respect their humanity.
To Israel later this year.
I know
and
for
that's
sure.
the problem is there are people that don't respect the laws.
See, I know you. I know you very well, and I know for sure. If you knew the people that we're talking about, you would be standing with us. You'd be standing with us.
Do you know them?
Yes.
Yeah,
and I go back to I've had conversations. One of my best friends married an illegal immigrant. We had this conversation at dinner, and I said to her, I am sorry that you decided to break the law. There are a lot of Americans that break laws, and they go to jail, and there's a consequence for your actions.
So nannies in the park with babies. So nannies in the park with babies.
We have a grand conversation, and you have one-sided where you say your side's the only side that's right, and my side's wrong. You said you'd kick me out if I had the conversation.
Hold on, Ben. So you said that you have a friend whose wife is
he married an illegal immigrant. They have children that are in this country.
And you said to that person,
I had them on my show.
Okay, I know. I'm just making sure we understand. I think it's a very interesting anecdote.
It's an important conversation.
You said to her, you need to be deported?
I said the same thing that my dad said to me if I ever got arrested. Don't expect me to bail you out. You're accountable for your actions.
So what did you say to her?
And what I said to her was this. I think you're an incredible human being. I love that you have this love with your family, your friends. It doesn't erase your kindness or your love, the fact that you broke the law.
Did you call ICE on her?
I'm not going to call ICE on
somebody.
Let me finish. I'm going to tell you exactly why. It's a great question. Because they were working through the process with lawyers while this was happening.
But you know what?
A lot of people are doing that.
Let me finish. This is what we're saying. And if she goes to a hearing, she could be deported right now.
If you have someone on your show who's an illegal immigrant and you have them on when you're having the conversation, everybody knows this is taking place. That's number one. Number two, they'd already had an interaction with law. They were already going through the process.
Wait, hold on. But Brent,
this is not hard.
I'm glad we're on this because we were just discussing that exact scenario. Many of these people, this is DHS policy now. They're in a courtroom because they are undocumented right now, but they're going through a legal process to normalize their status. And what DHS is doing to those people and might do to your friend's wife is say, actually, you know what we're going to do? We're just going to toss this case, and when you walk out of the store, we're going to put you in an ICE detention facility.
That is happening.
So that is the scenario that we're talking about. That's what we're talking about.
Run on that.
I go back to the point that I made earlier. We are either a nation of laws or we're not.
If you do not follow the rules, step by step by step, your immigration case is going to be dropped. You must follow the rules. Donald Trump is not playing any games. These people that are in the country illegally. But once again, they're only doing that to people in the country illegally. Right? You don't come into the country illegally and then expect special treatment because, you've been here for X amount of time. That's ridiculous. That's just absurd. Thinking, these people are here legally because they're going to immigration court. No, they're still here illegally. Once again, and then they admit it through proxy, I guess, by saying, they're trying to normalize, but they're still not saying, right? But they are saying it underneath that they're undocumented. They're in the country illegally. Once again, folks, you can parse out the lies of the corporate press if you just listen close enough to exactly what they're saying when they're saying it. It's absurd. I love all these arguments, but he kind of screwed up when he started talking about that anecdote right there about this person blah 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 blah. He shouldn't have said that, but regardless of that, he's right. He's definitely right. These people in the country illegally, Joe Biden let in way too many people, so now the Trump administration is having to come up with very inventive ways to get rid of these people because, it's absurd this day and age where we have these federal activist judges. They're trying to stop the Trump administration from deporting actual criminals, Right now, she said something earlier. That one lady said something about, well, they think everybody's a criminal. Well, if you came into the country illegally and you are staying in the country illegally, that is a crime, Miss Ma'am. That is definitely a crime. That makes you, by definition, a criminal. Now, I know there's varying degrees of criminality, right? Like, you know, you've got murderers, you've got bank robbers, blah, 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 blah. It goes all the way down the list, all the way to somebody who jaywalks, for goodness sakes, which that's going away because apparently jaywalking is racist for some reason. I don't know why. Maybe because black people get that ticket a lot more than white people. For some reason, we don't know why that is. Maybe cops are racist, but it's not jaywalking itself that's racist, right? So maybe we should look into that a little bit further past all my racism to actually get the underlying issue that is plaguing whatever it may be. You know what I'm saying? They're so quick to call racism. But these people in the country illegally, right? You don't feel sorry for these people. Once again, folks, I mean, do you really feel sorry for your friend that got a speeding ticket? Knowing, hey, look, there's signs everywhere that says, go this fast. Don't go faster than this. And they did anyway, and then they continued to do that until they ran across a police officer just so happened to have that radar gun. No, you don't feel bad for these people, right? You don't feel bad for somebody that goes out drinking and driving, puts a bunch of people in a dangerous situation, and then gets arrested and goes to jail and can't see his kids. That's how that happens, folks. You don't really feel bad for them, right? You might feel a little bit like, yeah, he screwed up. Sucks for him. You might feel that way, but you're not like, oh my God, it's such an injustice. No, that's not what we do, folks. That's the exact same thing that's going on with these very people. They intentionally subverted our laws. We are a nation of laws. If we are not, then hey, let's not enforce anything. But once again, we only live in a free society if our laws are applied equally all the way across the board. That's why I said the other day in a video, all those ridiculous laws like you can't put a pie on your windowsill. That's ridiculous. Let's get rid of that. Let's get that off the books, because if we're not going to enforce that, then what are we doing, right? If there's laws on the books that no cop is willing to enforce, let's get rid of it, because it's a double standard. It's hypocrisy if we're going to say we must enforce our laws and then only selectively enforce our laws, right? Because it happens all the time, right? Our laws are only as good as the people who are willing to enforce those laws. So we need to hold those people that enforce our laws to a much higher standard than we do everybody else, because these are the people that keep the bumper guards on society, for goodness sakes. This is why, for the most part, you always thank police officers. I know there's bad cops out there. I get it. Look, there's a lot of police brutality. It's not as much as people think, right? Once again, we can get into that too, because people have been fed this delusion that police brutality is all over the place. I mean, sure, you see it, right? It's there, but it's not nearly as bad, because the internet is pretty much funded by outrage, right? Like the videos that get the most clicks and that get the most attention are rage, right? We all know this. Things that make you mad, you're going to pay attention because you're going to get outraged. You're like, oh, I don't want to see this, blah, rah, whatever that is. So when you see a constant stream of police brutality videos, what does that do to a 10-year-old that happens to be on YouTube and sees one of these videos, and then the algorithm automatically thinks, oh, well, they like police brutality, so we're going to feed that police brutality. And then boom, they're seeing nothing but police brutality. So 10 years later, after watching 10 years of being fed police brutality, they're an adult now, and then they believe that thousands of black unarmed men are being killed by police on a daily basis. Right? Just hundreds, just by the droves on a daily basis. You know, hundreds of thousands a year. It's absurd. But people believe this, and it's partly due to the internet, but it's also partly due to people not paying attention, not doing the due diligence, doing the research, fact-finding, and the corporate press. Because, once again, they know that formula right there, that rage generates clicks. And what do clicks generate? Clicks generate money. And money goes into people's pockets, and they love money. So that's what CNN does. You will be a lot more aggravated if they run the title Maryland man mistakenly deported than they would, Donald Trump deports a guy. Right? You're going to click on the Maryland man mistakenly deported because you're like, ooh, what's this? And you'll, boom, there you go. But, the administration made an error and deported somebody. That doesn't generate nearly as many clicks as, hang on, Maryland man, that sounds like an American citizen. So now that makes a bunch of people that just buy into that narrative. They believe that Donald Trump is deporting American citizens. And they don't read all the way through the news articles, so they have no idea what they're even talking about. And then they get in front of you on a camera on YouTube, and they'll sit there and complain about completely fake situation. It's absurd, y'all. It really is. And that is our corporate press in a nutshell. Just blatantly. That's why I do what I do, folks. But I think I've rambled on for long enough on this one. I want y'all to let me know what y'all think about all this down in the comment section. It's mind-blowing to me that these people just refuse to do the due diligence and are just complicit with pushing propaganda, whether it's knowingly or unwittingly pushing propaganda. They are most definitely pushing propaganda. Y'all let me know what y'all think. Y'all don't forget to smash that like button. Subscribe if you're new around here. That would be awesome if you could also share this video anywhere and everywhere that you can. And what would be the absolute best, I'm telling you, do me that favor, look where the subscribe button is, if you're already subscribed, that is. Click it and read that for me. Do me that favor. All I'm asking you to do is a little bit of reading. Click that and read. And that's it. And y'all try to have a good day. Stay legitical. Peace.